Well guys, the time has finally come as we've gotten some pretty crazy Android 17 news here, and honestly, it's about time. I feel like in prior years, we got leaks way earlier and way more often, but hey, maybe things have changed in Google's world, who knows? What we do know is that a wild leak has surfaced over the past day or so, and I want to break it down so you know exactly what to expect in the near future. And of course, if you appreciate Android coverage like this, please stick around and subscribe to the 9 to 5 Google YouTube channel, because we love talking about Android here, so naturally, you guys would love to subscribe, right? With this latest leak, we have a few interesting items to look at here, specifically some new features and changes to the whole user experience. These screenshots shown by ex-user RKBDI show the number one thing that people are paying the most attention to, which is new blur effects for the system UI elements sprinkled all throughout the OS. In these images, we see the volume slider, volume panel, and volume menu all showing this noticeable blur with dynamic color theming attached. Right now, if you check these items on a Pixel running stable software, they're just solid colors, again with dynamic theming, which I have to say, both options do look great. I just hope that there's a choice to toggle or switch between the two, as it feels like this is more of a stylistic choice, or perhaps they're just cleaning up the expressive blur effects that didn't make the cut from its last update. Thankfully, we also got some screen recordings that show us a handful of new additions, specifically a much needed overhaul to the screen recording tool. The main idea here with this change seems to be focused around ease of use. Just checking out these screen recordings here, it looks much easier to engage with these screen recording options. Something big here is that it appears this whole screen recording system uses a floating pill to access your controls. Upon your initial recording, you have the option to select recording options like recording device audio, microphone, and showing touch interactions. When you're recording, this pill does hide away inside the status bar, and you can tap that little chip in the corner in order to bring it back. And to be clear, none of these interactions will show in the final recording. Lastly, you might have noticed a little markup icon inside that screen recording overlay. We don't have direct footage of this yet, but it is safe to assume you can use the markup tools inside of your screen recording. I will say Google Meet very recently added live annotation over calls that is making these edits in real time, so if I had to guess, that tech is somehow being reused in this instance, which is totally fine by me, by the way. Logically, professional users probably need a live annotation tool of some kind once in a while, since it's typically easier to show someone an issue versus describing it. That said, this is probably the best new addition in this leak. But wait, there's more. In one clip, a user holds down on an app to open the sub menu, revealing two new options, Bubble and Lock App. As the name implies, the Lock App option should allow you to hide individual apps behind a password, PIN code, or biometric lock. While the demo isn't fully working yet, we can thankfully see the full setup flow, and it does look pretty standard. Definitely a big feature Pixel users have been asking for quite some time now. And the second option is called Bubble, and I'm assuming this is the pop-up window feature that we've seen in all other Android skins. It should allow you to open and close apps from a quick access bubble that you can drag around on your screen, giving Pixels a much needed utility. And that's the end of this particular leak. As we can see, we're just getting some UI elements switched around, a little bit more blur, and it's honestly nothing really to call home about. But I did want to mention another prominent feature spotted by Mystic Leaks on Telegram, which is the addition of the split view notification shade, just like we see with iOS or One UI, for example. With this feature, you can basically swipe down from the left for quick settings or from the right for notifications in a more full screen view. The best part is, it appears Google is keeping the classic style we have today as an option in the settings, which I think is absolutely awesome. To me, Android is all about choice, and I think keeping it that way as opposed to making it a forced change will probably satisfy everyone. And listen guys, I do need to be a bit honest with you about this entire leak. I have seen a ton of headlines and comments from other members in the community labeling this as liquid glass or saying that Google is just copying Apple's design, and honestly, I really truly don't think that's the case. Blur and transparency elements inside of a user interface doesn't automatically mean that something is liquid glass. In fact, this is actually a very popular software design trend called Glassmorphism, and some of its biggest elements include a semi-transparent UI, background blur, layering and depth, and soft shadows to define the edges of this more blurry, opaque interface. Liquid glass uses all of those same principles that have existed for years now, by the way, but they add real-time light refraction and motion token-based reflections, while Material 3 Expressive, on the other hand, builds on top of Glassmorphism as well, but with physics-based motion systems that allow for more springy, snappy animations. And at least to me, they have a more functional use of these opaque UI elements. Honestly, both of them are using the same base design language, just adding their own custom finishing touches that make it feel a little bit different. So it doesn't really make sense to say that one is copying the other, especially when you consider the broader trend of tech design. With that said, my friends, all of this is hearsay until we see the update for ourselves. Obviously, none of us are actually running Android 17 on our devices. We haven't heard much about the next beta. If I had to guess, it could be any week now. Based on the previous Android 16 cycle, we got the first developer preview around late November with a stable build in June. If that logic is still sound in 2026, the beta should be arriving hopefully very soon, possibly within the next 30 days. So if you have a device specifically set up for that, definitely throw it on a charger because you might be using it hopefully very soon. And that, my friends, is everything we know about Android 17, rumored to have the codename Cinnamon Bun, which is actually kind of cute. Little Cinnamon Bun Android 17 action over here. But either way, guys, this is just a quick late night video where we were able to just grab this breaking news, and I just wanted to cover it in a timely manner for you guys. That said, until next time, this has been Jordan Floyd from 9to5 Google. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.